So, back for another VGC guide, and this time we're looking at Gyarados. We haven't seen any ground-type Gyarados yet, have we? At least I haven't. And everyone was like, that was the go-to example of Terra typing. Like, I'm pretty sure the very first thing that everyone was like, oh, Gyarados can turn into a ground type, and then be immune to the electric type attacks. That was right at the beginning when Terra was announced, right? And then I've seen none. I've seen literally none. Obviously you can. Like, it would be remiss of me not to mention that set, but it apparently is not the one that people are defaulting to. So, like, it's fine. It will definitely work, but it doesn't seem like the best way to go, apparently. A lot of people are going with just Terra Blast as their coverage, while being a flying or a grass type. Those are the two main ones. And yet people are overlooking Dragon. There's a lot of dragons in the format. If you have Terra Blast that is grass, you can't hit dragons. Flying can, but then you're not getting a defensive Terra type as well. You're still weak to electric. Dragon covers both. Dragon will hit dragon and resist electric. Sorted, right? At least that's my opinion. I think the dragon is an entirely reasonable Terra type on Gyarados that no one has spotted yet. It's always been grass or flying. Those are fine. Like, getting, like, not a bounce, flying stab is very good on the Gyarados to get the coverage. That would be way more offensive Terra typing rather than defensive. Grass is fine. Like, you'll make yourself immune to spores and all that, and immune to rage powder, and you'll still resist the electric. But dragon is slept on. And the point of this, guys, is to give recommendations you might not have thought of. So, dragon might be worse than grass or flying, but it is something that people have not thought about yet. And in my head, dragon makes a lot of sense, because water and dragon is brilliant coverage. Like, dragon hits a lot of things that water won't. So, yeah, go with dragon. Recommending. Very, very, very highly recommending that Gyarados is a dragon type. If you are dragon, you should absolutely be jolly on your Dragon Dance Gyarados, because then you will outspeed a Dragapult. If you are not going with dragon, if you're going with flying or grass instead, then I don't think you need jolly. So then I would say you could probably get away with dropping to adamant instead, because then you wouldn't need to outspeed that Dragapult because you can't really hit it very well. Terra flying could probably still justify being jolly, because that will still hit a Dragapult neutrally. Grass, don't even bother. Like, because you underspeed a Breloom with adamant, but if you are grass, then you just turn into a grass type and avoid the spores anyway. So if you're a grass Gyarados, go adamant. If you are not a grass Gyarados, then I do recommend jolly instead. So yeah, I mentioned about the ground type earthquake as well. Like, people seem to think that would be amazing and haven't seen any, but it would still be very good. People should try it out. It still could be good. If you didn't want to go the Life Orb, there's a few other items that Gyarados can run. Clear Amulet is one I've seen a lot. And if you aren't Life Orb, that affords a lot of bulk to be able to set up as well. So with this one, I have bulked it out. I've given it the Terra Flying, just another example of the Terra type that you can be. But basically, just fill out the Terra typing of your choice with this one. This is just a bulky setup one that outspeeds a Meowscarada at +1. And then just a lot of bulk to be able to actually survive some hits as well. Make use of your Intimidate, because it's one of the few Intimidate Pokemon in the format. Intimidate seems to be less effective as it has been in previous formats. Moxie is reasonable. I would still default to Intimidate, though. Like on the Life Orb ones, you can probably get away with Moxie a bit more. On not the Life Orb ones, you're less likely to be just immediately picking up knockouts to snowball with Moxie. So then I'd probably recommend Intimidate to help your bulk as well, like stack on top of your bulk. Moxie would be fine because you're weaker with not having the Life Orb, so if you do get a Moxie boost, then that helps you out in your slightly weakened state. I say weakened, it's still pretty strong, but I'd still... in almost all situations, I would default to Intimidate at this point. So this would be entirely reasonable, but apparently Gyarados gets Helping Hand now. That's pretty random. It can be a very viable pure support Pokemon, like an Arcanine would be. It's not quite the damage control options that Arcanine would have, like Snarl and Intimidate, but it does have speed control options that Arcanine doesn't particularly have. Like, you're not bulldozing with your Arcanine because there's no Pokemon to make use of the weakness policy. So yeah. Icy Wind and Thunder Wave are very good coverage moves. I would recommend Thunder Wave as a move here because you've got Waterfall, and then you've got some Power Flinch chances going. So then you'd actually be able to make use of the combo that you've got to stop them from moving some of the time, even more than previously, because you've got the 25% of the Thunder Wave, you've got the 20% of the Waterfall, so it's actually a reasonable chance that they would just not move. This does outspeed a Breloom, so then you'd be able to get the Icy Wind off before they would go for a Spore. For this one, I'd probably actually still recommend one of the the defensive Terra typings. I forgot to change that, so either Dragon, Grass, or Grounds. Definitely not Flying for this one, but Dragon, Grass, or Grounds would be perfectly fine for this Gyarados Terra typing. You don't really care about too much damage at this on this one. This is definitely a support one, and the damage comes from Helping Hand. But then you've also got Speed Control, you've also got damage reduction in Intimidate, and then you just got Waterfall to round off your coverage. You could, if you are hard committing to being a support Pokemon, you could drop Waterfall for Chilling Water. I wouldn't recommend it though. You want actually some damage coming out from the Gyarados, so you probably do want Waterfall as well. And like I said, you get the Power Flinch chance with Waterfall and Thunder Wave, so I'd still recommend that, even if you've got no attack investment either. So, yeah, Gyarados getting Helping Hand was not something I expected, so it's definitely a more viable support Pokemon, but it can definitely sweep as well. Like, definitely justified in being an A rank, I think. But Dragon is being slept on. It's always Grass or Flying. And it's not even Ground. Ground's fine. But try out Dragon. Dragon could be pretty sweet.